Now we will learn about the cerebellum. Cerebellum is the part of the hindbrain. You all know this is the cerebral hemisphere. This is midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. This is the cerebellum. It is the dorsal part of the brainstem. The brainstem, it is consist of the midbrain, pons, and the medulla oblongata, and dorsal to the brainstem, the cerebellum lies, and it is the part of the hindbrain because forebrain consists of the cerebral hemisphere and the diencephalon. Midbrain is the here is the midbrain, and the hindbrain constitutes the pons, medulla oblongata, as well as the cerebellum. Cerebellum, it is developed from the metencephalon. From prosencephalon, the prosencephalon will give rise to telencephalon, which will give rise to cerebral hemisphere, and also diencephalon, which will give rise to the thalamus and its family. Now mesencephalon give rise to midbrain, and the rhombencephalon give rise to metencephalon and myelencephalon. Metencephalon, pons plus cerebellum, the ventral aspect and the dorsal aspect, and the myelencephalon will give rise to the medulla oblongata, and this is the caudal part of the neural tube. Okay, now coming to the cerebellum, regarding its function, it does three functions, that is the tone, coordination of movement, and the posture and balance. Okay, you can memorize this by PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. Posture and balance, coordination of movement, and the tone. Coordination is the most recent one. It is done by the most recent is the Perio Cerebellum. Coordination. Most recent is the new. Recent to new होगा ना. New cerebellum. And it is the posterior lobe. And the deep cerebellar nuclei, which is related to this, is the dentate nucleus. And the tracts which are responsible for carrying this is the ascending and only ascending tracts are there, that is the dentatothalamic and thalamocortical, or you can say cerebellocortical. Okay, and it is related with the posterior lobe. Now the posture and balance, it is the most ancient, most previous feature, and it is done by the archicerebellum. Archi means old. Archicerebellum, and which is nothing but the flocculonodular lobe. If this is the cerebellum, then here lies the flocculonodular lobe. This is the flocculonodular lobe. This is the primary fissure. Is the middle part is the vermis. This is on both sides. This is the vermis, and by the side of which this is paravermis, and this is flocculonodular lobe. In front of the primary fissure, this is the anterior lobe. This one, and the posterior lobe. This is the posterior lobe, and along with this bharmal and the parabharmal area, and this is flocculonodular lobe. Okay, so archicerebellum deals with the flocculonodular lobe, and it deals with the posture and balance, and the nucleus is the fastigial nucleus. We all know the nucleus do not eat greasy food, that is the dentate, emboliform, globose, and the fastigial, from lateral to medial. Fastigial is most medial and the most old, and this is the most recent. Okay, altogether this two is known as nucleus interposed. So fastigial nucleus and the ascending and descending fiber, ascending is going to the spinocerebellar, and this is medial longitudinal fasciculus. Medial longitudinal fasciculus is also known as medial vestibular fasciculus. It's related with the vestibular nucleus. Vestibular nucleus is also related with the posterior balance. So has archicerebellum has got intimate relationship with the vestibular nucleus. Okay. This has got intimate relationship with the vestibular. This has got intimate relationship with the cerebral cortex, and one is the Perio Cerebellum. First, we have to complete this one. Ascending and descending, medial longitudinal fasciculus, ascend upward, and below this is vestibulospinal. Sorry, vestibular is the nucleus of this. Nucleus in ये आर्की है ना, तो आर्की में तो वेस्टिबुल होगा ही. ओके, दिस इज द न्यू इज द डेंटेड. ओके, तो हो गया वेस्टिबुलो, नीचे चला गया वेस्टिबुलो स्पाइनल. ओके, एंड नाउ दिस इज द पेरियो सेरेबेलम. इनकमिंग भी होता है, इनकमिंग जैसे होता है इनकमिंग, इंटरनल प्रोसेसिंग एंड आउटगोइंग. अब आउटगोइंग में होता है असेंडिंग एंड डिसेंडिंग. दिस इज द नॉर्मल प्रोटोकॉल. इन केस ऑफ नियोसेरेबेलम, इनकमिंग इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द cerebral cortex, internal processing with the dentate nucleus, and outgoing to the again cerebral cortex. Okay, it has got no descending fiber. And the second one is the neocerebellum. This is archicerebellum, that deals with the here the fiber is coming from the vestibular nucleus, and it is going to the fastigial nucleus, then ascending and descending, ascending fiber and the descending fiber ascending to the medial longitudinal fasciculus, descending to the vestibulospinal, which has its action on the extensor muscle or rising muscle. Okay, now and the third one is this is the neocerebellum, this is archicerebellum, and this is Perio Cerebellum, where is the incoming is coming from the perio, from the spinal cord. Okay, through the dorsal spinocerebellar, ventral spinocerebellar, cuneocerebellar, all these, and going to the globose and emboliform, and then the ascending and descending fiber. Ascending fiber is going to the red nucleus, up to the red nucleus, and then descending fiber is the rubrospinal, which is going to the flexor muscles or anti-rising muscle. Okay. Now Perio Cerebellum, again this is the Perio Cerebellum is the anterior lobe, and going to the which nucleus? Perio Cerebellum is the nucleus interposed, that is globose plus emboliform, then ascending and descending, ascending going up to the red nucleus, and descending going to the that is the rubrospinal. Okay, and incoming we have already dealt with. Now coming to the how it is done. And one thing more, in case of vermal and paravermal area, which is dealt with the posterior lobe, this is Perio Cerebellum is the anterior lobe, the Perio Cerebellum, that anterior lobe, it has got homunculus. in the vermal and the paravermal area there is homunculus. That like this, the head is towards this side, and here is the neck, and again here is the head, and here is the upper limb, lower limb, upper lower limb, this is upper limb, like this, both sides. Okay, now coming to the internal processing, how it is done. There is cortex and medulla. In the cortical there are 3 layers of the cells, and these are the deep nuclei. Deep nuclei, there are 2 type of incoming fiber coming from the inferior olivary nucleus and from other inferior olivary nucleus. This is the climbing fiber and this is the mossy fiber. Both say hello to the dentate the deep nuclei. It may be the dentative polyform globose, other it may be the internal processing. Now this climbing fiber climb up to the, this is my personal garden, that is molecular layer, Purkinje layer, and the granular layer. Okay, this climbing fiber climb up to the molecular layer, and then it excite the Purkinje cells, dendrites. These are the Purkinje cell dendrites, and it is going up to the axon is going up to the deep nuclei, which inhibit the excitatory. Here is the glutamate, and here in case of aspartate. Okay, and inhibitory in the whole of the cerebellum, it is GABAergic. Positive, it may be glutamate, it may be aspartate. In case of climbing, it is glutamate. In case of mossy, it is aspartate. And negative is only one type, that is the GABA. Okay. Now it first say hello, that is the positive stimuli to the deep nuclei. Then it is going upward up to the climb up to the molecular layer, where it excite the dendrons of the Purkinje cells, and the axons of which come to the deep nuclei, and it give negative impulse. So directly it influences, indirectly it inhibit. Okay, so it has got a self control over that. Now the mossy fiber, what it does, it first say hello to the deep nuclei, then it is the going up to the granular layer. Here is the granular cell layer, so granular cell lies here. Now it can stimulate many, the climbing, this is the climbing one is stimulating only one Purkinje cell, whereas the mossy fiber stimulate many granule cells, many. And this granule cell now its axon is going up to the molecular layer, and then send parallel fibers. Parallel fiber, now parallel fiber is synapsing with the Purkinje, and it gives positive impulse to the Purkinje, and which is giving negative impulse to the deep nuclei. The same way it is inhibiting by somehow, and it is also inhibiting by somehow. Okay, it gives positive here, then positive to the dendrons of the Purkinje cell, but it can excite, the parallel fiber can excite many of the Purkinje cells, many. And Purkinje cell also has indirect contact with the many of the granule cells parallel fiber. Okay, they are not so faithful, but the climbing fiber is very faithful. It is interacting with only one Purkinje fiber, whereas the mossy fiber is even connecting with the many granule cell, and granule cell fiber connecting with the many Purkinje cells, and Purkinje cell even connected with the many granule cells. Okay, and these are the parallel fiber, and so this is controlling by somehow excite, then inhibit by this way. excite and inhibiting by this way. So both are controlling, has got self-control, the self-controlling system over the deep nuclei. Now there are certain local inhibitors. There are two type of local inhibitors. Local inhibitors system, that is the stellate and basket, and second one is the Golgi cell. Okay, here is the Golgi cell, lies in the granular cell layer. Golgi, this is Golgi, it inhibit the granule cell. Okay, inhibit the granule cell. And this Golgi cell, and there is local inhibition of by this parallel fibers to the local inhibitory fiber of this nearby molecular cells of, these are the other nearby the Purkinje cells. This is another Purkinje cell, and the another Purkinje cell, it is the dendron of Purkinje cell. It is another dendron of Purkinje cell. Here is the basket cell, and here is the stellate cell. What does it do? This granule cell parallel fiber inhibit the nearby Purkinje cell dendron. Nearby Purkinje cell dendron by the it excites this stellate, and stellate inhibit this nearby Purkinje. This excite the nearby, this is basket and this is stellate. This stellate excite stellate cell which inhibit the nearby Purkinje cell. So there is one method to enhance the Purkinje cell which is doing its function, which is focused, is a general rule to facilitate one's function is to suppress the nearby function. अगर तीन लोगों के बीच में कंपटीशन होता है तो बाकी दो को डिप्रेस कर दो तो ऑटोमेटिकली एक फैसिलिटेट हो जाता है. तो ग्रैन्यूल सेल क्या करता है, जो कि पैरेलल फाइबर बना रहा है. Parallel fiber is going here. Now it is exciting two local inhibitory cell, that is the basket cell and stellate cell. And basket cell and stellate cell inhibit the dendron of Purkinje cell, nearby Purkinje cell, not the effector Purkinje cell, nearby Purkinje cell, in order to facilitate the effector Purkinje cell. This is the local inhibitory system. Okay. So this is the internal processing. Now coming to the incoming and outgoing for every part. Then this is the anterior lobe, this is the posterior lobe, and there is the flocculonodular. Okay. Now first coming to the vestigial. This is the flocculonodular, this is anterior lobe, and this is posterior lobe. Anterior lobe is anterior to the primary fissure, and flocculonodular lobe is behind the dorsolateral, and posterior is in front of the dorsolateral. Okay, dorsolateral sulcus. Now anterior lobe, it is connecting with the spinocerebellum, and this is vestigious and the vestibular system. Okay, flocculonodular, and this is perio, it is connecting with the spinal cord. So the vestigio here from the vestibular nuclei, this is the vestibular nuclei, the incoming is going to the vestigial nucleus, and now outgoing is coming again here, the vestibular. Now ascending fiber, 3, 4, 6, ascending fiber as the medial longitudinal fasciculus. Okay, and now it descends also as the vestibulospinal tract, going to the cervical level of the spinal cord, going to the muscles of the head neck. Not only head neck, vestibulospinal to all level, and it is supplying the extensor muscle. Okay, this is vestibulospinal tract. This is medial longitudinal fascicular or medial vestibular fasciculus, and this is incoming, that is the vestibulocerebellar, and this is outgoing, that is the fascigovestibular tract. Okay, this is clear about the flocculonodular lobe or archicerebellum. Now coming to the another one. Coming to the, this is posterior lobe or neocerebellum. Neocerebellum deals with the dentate nucleus. Here is the dentate nucleus. Fiber is coming from the cerebral cortex. This is the cerebral cortex. Fiber is coming to the pons through the middle cerebellar peduncle, the opposite side pontocerebellar tract. Okay, and from here, if it will come, going to the opposite through the middle cerebellar peduncle. So from the opposite side it is coming, and what is incoming? This is cortico-pontocerebellar tract. Now internal processes is done in the dentate nucleus. Now outgoing is through the superior cerebellar peduncle. Is outgoing to the outgoing to the dentatothalamic, going to the thalamus, dentatothalamic and thalamocortical. Okay, from dentatothalamic or thalamocortical. Okay, now come to the, it has got no descending fiber. Now come to the anterior cerebellum. This deals with the spinal cord. Fiber is coming through the spinal cord as the dorsal spinocerebellar. First order neuron lies in the dorsal root ganglia. Now coming to the Clark nucleus from the lower limb and the lower trunk. Now ipsilateral, it is ascending upward through inferior cerebellar peduncle, ipsilateral side of cerebellum, going to the nucleus interposed. Okay, now the ventral spinocerebellar, it is entering through the dorsal root ganglia, then Clark column, and then it is going to the opposite side, ascend up to the midbrain level, then going to the and then it is entering through the superior cerebellar peduncle, to the opposite side, and then coming to the again ipsilateral side. Okay, nucleus interposed. Now come to cuneocerebellar from the upper limb and the upper trunk, going to the accessory nucleus of the medulla oblongata in same side, and through the inferior cerebellar peduncle to the ipsilateral nucleus interposed. Okay, and internal processing done. Now outgoing to the cerebello-rubral, going to through the superior cerebellar peduncle, cerebello-rubral to the red nucleus. Here lies the red nucleus, cerebello-rubral, And now rubrothalamic, here is the thalamus, rubrothalamic and thalamocortical. Now this is the rubro, here is the, after ventral tegmental decussation, it is coming to the spinal cord. Okay, this is ventral tegmental decussation and now it is descending. Okay, so this is the incoming is the from to the anterior lobe, that is the Perio Cerebellum. Incoming is and this is the dorsal spinocerebellar, this is the ventral spinocerebellar, this is the cuneo-cerebellar. Now it is going to the nucleus interposed and outgoing is to the rubrothalamic, thalamocortical, and here is the descending fiber is the rubrospinal going to the flexor muscle. So it is also supplying through the vestibular nucleus to the extensor muscle and through the red nucleus to the flexor muscle. So it coordinates the flexor, the gravity and the anti-gravity muscles. It coordinates. The cerebellum does, where I already earlier said, that proximal convoluted tubule, that is it posture and the coordination of movement and the tone. So these are the all output, input and the internal processing. Now if there is a lesion, there is cerebellar syndrome will occur and the posture and balance will be derailed, the tone will be derailed and the coordination will be derailed. If defect in the posture and balance, this is called dystaxia. And if due to the afferent means incoming, then it is called sensory ataxia. Okay, ataxia or dystaxia. Then if due to the efferent, the cause is efferent, that is outgoing, then it is called motor ataxia. Now coming to the coordination, if the cerebellar injury, coordination will get affected in case of neurocerebellar injury, then what will occur? There will be in case of articulation of speech, then dysarthria, and in case of motor problem, then it will lead to dysdiadochokinesis. Dysdiadochokinesis means alternating supination and pronation will be hampered, and dysmetria, exact where we have to the exact site will be derailed. If we have to touch that one, we can go far or the nearby, but not proper place. An alternative movement will be derailed in the dysdiadochokinesis. Okay, and dysmetria. And now coming to the tone, if this will be derailed, there will be hypotonia, asthenia, like this. So this is called the cerebellar syndrome due to the cerebellar lesion. Now one thing more here, in the granular cell layer, this is my personal garden, granular cell layer, there is a glomerulus formed, which is also known as cerebellar island, in which there is granule cell, Golgi cell, and mossy fiber take part. Gagum. And the Golgi cell, the Golgi is the local inhibitory, and this is granule cell, which are excitatory in nature, and this is inhibitory in nature, mossy fiber, excitatory to the Golgi cell. Okay, granule cell. Granule, Golgi, and the mossy fiber. There is 50 granule cell. As I have said earlier, that mossy fiber excite so many granule cell in the granular cell layer. So 50 granular cell plus 200 dendritic digit. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे डेंड्रॉन है ना, 210 dendritic digit, plus 230 synaptic junction. These all together form one glomerulus type of structure that is called cerebellar island, and it is covered by a glial sheath which is formed by the villate astrocyte. And these two are presynaptic junction. And the granule cell, they form this is the dendritic and synaptic now. The granule cell plus Golgi and plus mossy fiber take part. So granule cell, it is postsynaptic dendrite, and this Golgi and the mossy, these are the presynaptic. This thing you have to memorize. Presynaptic, and this is presynaptic, and granule cell postsynaptic. It is giving negative impulse, it is giving positive, and this is positive impulse. For the rhythmic and the self-controlled, self-mannered impulse in charge from the cerebellum, this is the working station in the granule cell, cerebellar island. So this is all about the cerebellum. Thank you.